Hi everyone, I am Ntitiseng Moloi and you are tuned into the Nepoworx podcast. And I think one of the most underrated parts of that process post the nomination is you get to connect with people who are also doing great things in their respective industries. You get to meet artists that are doing great things who have been nominated for the work that they're doing. If there's one thing that I'd like my younger self to take out of my story is that of courage. I think knowing that you have to be courageous in chasing the things that you are passionate about. And sometimes that means walking alongside the fear, walking alongside when she saw solar panels, like, oh, this is like in the book. And I'm like, this is why I wrote this book. I need you to see something and identify with it. Well,
Welcome to the Nepoworx podcast. On today's edition, we have a very special guest, Ntitiseng Moloi, who is a project engineer as well as a Melon Guardian Young 200 and now an author of a children's book in the renewable energy space. Her contribution and her work, as well as her passion, is about building solutions or energy solutions rather within the renewable energy space and ensuring that she inspires the next leaders. So I'm excited to get into this conversation. Welcome, Ntitiseng.
thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a really nice chat, really great conversation. We usually just do icebreakers, so I'll start with a game called This or That, and then we'll get into the conversation. We'll just flow nicely. So the first question, I'll give you two options and you choose one.
Sure.
First one is, do you prefer solar or wind?
I'm going to say solar at the moment because I'm doing a bit of more work in the solar space than wind. So yeah, solar for now.
All right, beautiful. And then do you prefer on-site work or engineering semantics rather?
I do like the occasional visits to site, but I think I definitely am an office girl. I need aircon, I need coffee, I need a nice outfit. So I'm going to say engineering schematics for that reason. But yeah, just an occasional visit to site, but I'd like to be based in the office.
Beautiful. Yeah. And then do you prefer, now that you're an author, do you prefer authoring a children's book or doing like your daily technical reports in the office?
That's a tough one. Both, but I'm going to lean more towards writing children's books because it's a recent thing. It's a recent creative outlet for me that I'm enjoying. Yeah. But yeah, both.
Beautiful. We'll get more into the book as we get into our conversation. Sure. I think it's quite an amazing thing that you've done, and I really think that it's going to create a more like open space for young people, but also for parents to kind of like educate and introduce renewable energy to their kids. So I want to get more into that.
That's the whole
later
point.
on
That's the whole point.
As we go. So the last one under this or that, do you prefer mentorship or like self-teaching, self-learning?
That's a tough one. Both. There's a time for both. But I think I'm more of a self-learning first and then introducing mentorship further down my learning process. So both for different times. Yeah.
I agree. I love that. One of my first managers used to say also with mentorship, it's a daily thing. Like you don't have to like formalize it, but like your managers, your day-to-day people also kind of form.
It doesn't have to be a contract.
Yeah. Yes, because I think that's what because that's what I used to view it as. And now you like, I wanted to like go ask people, can you be my mentor? And I realized that actually the day-to-day people that I report to or like that are above me, or even like people that I manage, like we learn it from each other every day.
Yes,
I feel like that's mentorship. So beautiful.
That's true.
Cool. So the next one is called Two Truths and a Lie. So I want you to give me two truths about you and one lie, and I have to choose which one is a lie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to make this easy.
Please do.
Okay, so one, I love camping.
Okay.
2, I enjoy swimming.
All right.
3, I am fluent in 2 African languages, Sesotho and isiZulu.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like that last one is definitely true. I feel like if you're...
did I give it away?
No, I feel like if you're South African and
Okay.
you have to be multilingual, you have
Fair.
to. Like, I would judge a person who only knows one language.
Fair.
Like, even if you know English in your home language, you need to add another one. But I think we all try. Like, there's things where you can hear and you can conversate, and I think that's the important. So definitely that, I think, is an easy one.
Yeah, that's true.
The 2 are very tricky. You said you like going on site for work, but I don't think you like camping. So I think camping is a lie.
It is.
I got it.
I like being out in nature, but always I'll go for a hike, right? Because I know I'll come back home eventually. I can't camp. I hate bugs. I hate
exactly.
I hate dust and all those kinds of things. So I don't like camping.
For me, my reasons for not liking camping, I've said to my friends, I grew up a village girl. Give me luxury. If I'm gonna go away, it has to be the hotel. It has to be luxury. I'm good with the bush. I've had enough of seeing it or being around.
You know what's out there.
Yeah, I'm good. It's okay. I don't need to go camping.
Love that.
The one kind of last question under the segment that I would like to ask you is, if your younger self could see you now, hear you now, what is the thing that you would want them to remember?
Okay, so first, if there's one thing that I'd like my younger self to take out of my story is that of courage. I think knowing that you have to be courageous in chasing the things that you are passionate about. And sometimes that means walking alongside the fear, walking alongside your curiosity, or things that you are unsure of, but seeing it through because it fuels you and it gives you so much purpose. So I think, in one word, courage.
Beautiful.
That's
That is very lovely.
That's it.
You just mentioned something I said to my cousin the other day. She said to me is that we have to be able to exist even or live within our chaos. Because she's like, you've been so closed in. Like, just live. Like, do something. One small thing where you're just living within the chaos.
Correct.
So I love that. Really like that. So as we get into our conversation, you've had a really great you've made a great contribution within the renewable energy space. What would you say attracted you to the space?
Okay, so at first it was by coincidence, and I'll tell you how. Okay. So when I graduated university, I worked in consulting, engineering consulting. And if you know how engineering consulting works, is it's project from different industries. So while I am an electrical engineer by profession, while you are specializing in your electrical engineer expertise, but you are exposed to the project can be from anywhere. It could be a mining project, it could be a power station. Then at the time, renewables was actually becoming quite common. So we got a lot of different projects, but for some reason I was always drawn to the projects that are renewable energy based. And then a few years down the line, I decided to kind of mainstream my experience to renewable energy. I decided, okay, let me go work for an IPP and see what the bigger picture looks like. Because also in consulting, you'll only focus on what the company has been awarded to do. So for instance, if you are only awarded to do the design of a certain part of the power plant, you don't really have a full picture. Okay, what happens after this, or what happened for us to get to this point? So I felt like I just needed that bigger picture. And then I took the leap and like, let me go work for an IPP to see, what does the full picture look like? And the rest is history. I was just drawn in from there.
That's beautiful.
So it just took exploring, I think, to tap into it, and that's how I ended up here.
That's beautiful. I think I love how most of our guests and like people within, especially with the renewable energy spaces, that most of us or anybody, like, we didn't go directly into it, or it was by coincidence, as you say, and we found our grounding, and we kind of like found that setting. And I love that in terms of what you're saying now, so just making sure that you're exploring, and that's what led you to where you are now. As I mentioned earlier in the introduction, you've been recognized as one of the Mail and Guardian Young 200 before. And how did that feel when you got that role, and how do you feel it's contributed to your growth?
So one, it felt very affirming. It felt really good, obviously, when you find out that you've been nominated. And I think one of the most underrated parts of that process post the nomination is you get to connect with people who are also doing great things in their respective industries. You get to meet artists that are doing great things who have been nominated for the work that they're doing. And it's an important thing to draw inspiration from people who excel where they are. And I think that's the one thing that I have taken away from that experience, or the responsibility that I feel that it has given me, is to bloom where you are planted. There's always room to do big things wherever you are.
That's
so true. Yeah, that's the one thing I took away from it. But it was a very affirming and good feeling post the nomination.
That's beautiful. I know that you've been part of the IEC Young Professionals program.
Yeah.
Please tell me more about your experience in that, and also being able to replicate it into other spaces as well.
Yeah. So my IEC story is actually a classic story of one thing leading to another, and then leading to another.
Yeah.
And leading to another. It all started with a call for papers. So by the SABS, so that's the South African Bureau of Standards. And maybe just to backtrack to explain what the IEC is. IEC stands for International Electrotechnical Commission, which is a global standardization body for electrical, electronic, and like related technologies. So in South Africa, that falls within the SABS, which is our national standardization body. So it was a call for papers by the SABS on behalf of the IEC. I can't quite remember what the topic was, but it was along the lines of artificial intelligence and how can we standardize it. It was a buzzword at the time. People were worried, oh my God, how are we going to make sure that this thing is standardized and there are certain rules and frameworks that govern it. So I wrote a paper in response to the call for papers for the IEC. And then my paper was in the top 2. So I think the rest is history, actually. In the top 2, and then after the top 2, it meant that you now get to join in on the IEC Young Professionals program as a South African representative, right? I didn't have full sight of this at the time. I just thought, I'm just going to write a cool paper. I'm going to win. They might give me a few bucks. I don't know. But then we were chosen, me and Bendulo, another guy. We were in the top 2. And a part of that meant that we had to attend the global general meeting for the IEC, which was going to be held in China in the same year. So I say one thing led to another very quickly. So we went there as 2 South African representatives, and we met a group of young professionals who were also representing countries all over the world. So it was a really good gathering. But what then happened was, at the time that I was traveling to China, I was based in Australia for a project through my previous employer at the time. So my traveling was from Australia to China. And while we were there, I then met with the Australian representatives of the IEC, who are now, I guess, my people at the time, right? And then it just so happened that one of the Australian representatives was selected to be one of the young professional leaders, right? And when you're a young professional leader, I think he was one of 3, you have to come up with a project within the IEC young professional space. So his project was then to increase participation for African countries. So at the time, I think South Africa was one of 2 countries that were represented in the Young Professionals program. So there was a really obvious underrepresentation of Africa. So he saw that and he was like, okay, what can we do to increase participation? Obviously, me based in Australia, also South African, he reached out and we started working together on that project. So we ran that project. I think we called it filling in the missing puzzles or finding the missing puzzle, something like that. It was a very impactful and fulfilling project. We managed to set up young professional programs in 3 other African countries. It was Uganda, Cote d'Ivoire, and I can't remember the third one.
Okay.
Yeah, but we were able to successfully set up young professionals programs in there, and for years to follow, they had representation in the young professionals program global network going forward.
Okay.
So yeah, this is why I say one thing led to another, one thing led to another.
But I love that.
Yes, yeah. So that's how that came about, and I think the one thing that I took away from that experience is the importance of access. You know, we got to talk to a lot of bright people who just didn't have access, right? Who just didn't know that there's certain things that exist outside of what they know. And having created that platform for them, I think was really fulfilling. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That is amazing. And I think I love how you just ended this or brought this, because that is the main aim of this particular platform, is to create that access to information as well, where young people who are sitting at home or who are already in this space can see like the end goal or more in terms of opportunities, and have access to or have access to information in terms of some of the work that you do, or like other opportunities that can obviously help them as well, either in terms of making a contribution but also growing their own careers. And so we're grateful that you're here to also impart that knowledge.
I'm happy to be here.
All right. We're going to get into an even more interesting conversation.
Okay.
And while we're here, you also then wrote a children's book, but about solar energy.
Yes.
And for our viewers, this is what it looks like. I had the pleasure of reading it, and I really loved it. And I was
love that.
like, I definitely need to get it for my daughter who's 6. I know she'll love it as well. So what inspired you to write for this particular audience instead of already the audience that you deal with? Yeah.
I know. So I speak about it briefly on the back of the book. Mainly, this is a book that I would have loved to read as a child. But I think this also then speaks to relatable stories. So bringing forward educational content in stories that are relatable, that kids can relate to, right? Especially when you talk about things like science and technology. I mean, growing up, every time you read a science book, it was never something that you could identify with, right? It always seems so far-fetched. Like Albert Einstein, you're like, okay, I've never seen anyone that looks like this man. Does he even exist?
Yeah.
I think that was the whole point. I just wanted to bring forward science, education forward in a way that kids can understand and relate to. So the story is very relatable. It is set in South Africa. There's a lot of relatable concept within the book, but at the same time, it brings forward the content that I want to teach kids about, which is renewable energy, solar power. So it's very heartwarming actually to see how, because I have my niece who was the first person to read the book. She's 5 turning 6. And then we were driving along and she saw solar panels. Like, oh, this is like in the book. And I'm like, this is why I wrote this book. I need you to see something and identify with it while also learning more about the concept.
That is very beautiful.
So, yeah, that was the main thing, just bringing relatable stories to bring about educational content. I think that's the core of it.
I think when I read the book, and even now talking to you, you just brought on something so nostalgic, but also so important. I remember, and I think a lot of people here, and they will speak about it on social media, where they say, bring back educational TV shows, because you just reminded me of like kids shows that literally were demonstrating our day-to-day, even your soul buddies that were teaching you about like different health problems, things like TB and HIV, but they were breaking it down in such a like a more nuanced, but for like this young age, things like the Easy Yoga adverts, if I think about
and
it.
you don't forget.
To this day, I remember
you don't forget
because,
what those things were teaching you.
Yeah, and I think I love that, because even when I read the book, I was like, no, I know my child would be able to relate, especially like if I said, oh, even the geyser we use is a solar geyser,
like,
now she'll understand.
Okay. Yeah.
So I really love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. We touched on this earlier when you spoke about access, but I just want to ask, as a woman engineer within the renewable energy space, how do you see your role shaping or kind of like, or shaping the shift and the conversations around access and inclusion?
Yeah. So I think just the being a female engineer, right? There's a great underrepresentation of women in STEM fields in general, not just renewable energy. So it helps to have a picture of what that looks like. If you aspire to be a woman in the sector, it helps to have a picture of what it looks like. So I think my role is more of being, that picture, presenting that picture to whoever may want to access it. And the same way that I've gotten confidence from women who are thriving in the sector to know what it looks like, what it helps to see what you want, like a live representation of it. And I think that's something that we may take for granted. Representation really does matter. So I've had the privilege of having women, who are way more ahead than I am, to know what I want looks like. And I think it's important for me to do the same for someone who may want to enter into the sector. So it's just the representation issue, I think, which is really important. Yeah,
I love that. And I'm going to digress a bit, but you see it quite a lot when it comes to representation, where I speak a lot about my daughter, but like, because you see it in young kids as well. When they see people in adverts, or like she'll be doing something where she's playing and the whole day she's imitating her principal, and like even the mannerisms. And I'm like, I love that she sees somebody in a big role and she wants to be them. Or even me, sometimes she'll be imitating me, but you'll see them even in adverts. This week, I don't know if you've seen on LinkedIn and social media, I think maybe also because I'm in the comms advertising space, the free advertising, the Vaseline adverts that they've done. Like even Americans are posting about it, because it's like all of us had this one childhood that's different, but it's the same. We had our grandmothers lacing our faces with Vaseline. So I think I love that, where you're like, all of us actually had this childhood, and we're able to kind of visualize it and like relate to it. So I love that even in careers, that's exactly what's needed.
It helps to have representation that you can always refer to.
Absolutely.
While working towards whatever goal you want to achieve. So
absolutely, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So as we go towards our ending, if there is one thing you could change about how people understand, and I think this is the way to do it, but if there's one of the things or one thing that you can change about how the public understand renewable energy, what would it be?
I think there's still a wide, I don't want to say misunderstanding, but maybe misinformation, right? So every time you speak to, let's say, family members and you talk about renewable energy, the first thought is always, this temporary solution that we have for load shedding. So someone will always tell you, oh, the panel, I also have panels on my roof. And like, that's great, but that's not really what it is. So a lot of people don't know that the energy that they get in their homes, is also as a result of the energy mix at national level. That is governed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is governed
even
by
the reduction
policy.
of load shedding not happening as much.
Yeah. So someone will ask you, oh, do you guys still get work? Because we don't have load shedding anymore. What are you guys doing? Like, maybe that is why we don't have load shedding anymore. So a lot of people, exactly, a lot of people don't know that we have, utility scale solar and wind energy facilities that inject power onto the national grid, and which is solving a lot of our energy problems. So that was one of the things that I wish people could understand, but I don't get tired of explaining it. I actually love teaching people about
I like that, because because it is really like that conversation. Even when we've done radio interviews with Nonjabulo, you'll hear like people calling in and saying, no, you guys are trying to get rid of like coal, and
it's like, how
you think solar can only they can actually integrate together. That's what
Exactly.
That's what's
Yeah.
happening now.
Yeah.
And with the book, what and I think you touched on it earlier when you spoke about why you wrote the book. But what key message do you want to stay with the kids? We spoke about representation as well, but also their understanding. What key message would you want the kids to kind of take away from engaging with the book?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear. Winnie, the headliner or the the main character of the book, I think she not only does she learn about solar energy, but she eventually, visualizes herself being a part of, what the book represents. So I think the main message is to give children a picture of what it looks like for them to be part of the solution as well. So it's one thing to understand how something works, but it's another thing to see yourself participating in it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, representation again,
and
but
being active participants.
active participation in the solution, because you've been given confidence that you know what this is about.
That's
so
beautiful.
Yeah, that's
That's
the main
beautiful.
thing.
We've tackled the serious stuff. What do you do like after a long day of girl bossing as well as being a girl boss, as well as obviously like educating young kids? I know you do talks as well, events, all of that. You engage a lot. What do you do to just unwind?
To unwind.
Like, I'm good today.
I have a long list. I don't run out of things to do.
No, it's fine. Give me a few.
So I like to swim. As I said initially, I love swimming. That's like my one hobby that I enjoy doing. I like keeping active. So I'll typically, in the mornings, I like to reserve those for keeping active, moving my body. However, I love connecting with my family and friends. So brunches, lunches, those kind of things. It's a Joburg thing. So I do a lot of those. But yeah, just connecting with people, I think is my one thing that I enjoy doing. But I do also like a bit of my alone time. So just to be in solitude and do whatever I want to do.
That is lovely.
Yeah.
We are on our second last question. In terms of leaders and mentors, who are the people that you would say, maybe top 3, top 2, have had a great influence on you or your career path?
Okay, so I can't narrow it down, unfortunately.
Give me a few more again.
I think we're just so lucky. I think in the energy sector as a whole, we are lucky to be led by women who are doing amazing things. I mean, all it takes is for you to just log on to LinkedIn and a woman has done something amazing in energy. So we're not running short of role models in the sector. So yeah, I'd say the women that are doing really great things. We have a number of WhatsApp groups. You just get into the groups that we're congratulating someone for doing something really epic. And I love that so much. And I draw a lot from that. A lot of my inspiration comes from that. And a few mentors I've had in the space as well, through mentorship programs. I mean, we have a lot of leadership programs as well, and you've always going to connect with someone that is way ahead of where you are, or they are headed in the direction that you wish to go into as well. So I've learned a lot from those mentors as well. I can't narrow it down. It's too many women.
I get it. I agree with you.
We don't run short. We don't run short of inspiration in the sector. Shame.
That's true. In closing, what legacy, and it's a triple barrel question, but what legacy do you want to leave? I think, like within the renewable energy space, in terms of your contribution in young education, obviously, because we are multifaceted beings, but also then in inclusion when it comes to women in the space. You just spoke about how you have so many women leaders that inspire you. So what legacy do you want to leave in each of the 3 spaces?
Okay, so just to feed into that last question, because we have these amazing women, I think it's our responsibility to inspire the generations that follow after us. So I really believe in that whole chain, someone, you've learned from someone, and now it's your responsibility to bring someone up as you go up as well. I believe highly in that. And I think maybe writing the book is one of those things that speaks to how passionate I am about going back and then coming back again. So I think that's one of the things really I would really like for someone to sit here one day and say, there are a lot of women doing great things in energy, for example, in Ntitiseng, the same way I'm saying about all the other women. So that's the one legacy that I'd like to leave. And also on the education front, it's obviously something that I'm very passionate about. I need kids to understand the things that are happening in this world. My one colleague said something about the book to say in marginalized communities especially, right, there is no material for the nerds that are sitting there. I was one myself, I must say. I said,
absolutely.
The only next best thing that you're going to get is, I remember when I was in grade 2 or grade 3, and I was going through the work too fast, and they would just keep bringing books from like grade 4, grade 5. I'm like, well, there is still material at my level that I haven't explored, and perhaps because you come from a township, they don't have access to that information. So I think we need to cater to the overachievers, even in marginalized communities. We need to bring knowledge to them about any and everything, because I was that child, and then I just ended up watching a lot of TV to learn. But if I had books like these, I could have learned even more.
Same.
So, yeah.
You just mentioned something so relatable to me, and I think it's a nice way to close out. So my sister, I'm from a village, and my sister's 6 years older than me. So you can imagine the age gap. But every single grade I was getting into, I would have had read like her books.
Yeah.
So by the time I'd get to high school, the teachers would be shocked that I know the books, because what else was I doing? I would see her interested in like studying, and then I would then take her next book and read it. And I think it's such an important thing. You also mentioned something that I liked, that again takes me back to like old TV shows as well, that says, like, as you say, like as women, as we are now growing and learning in this industry, we must then create that chain. And I thought of the saying that says, each one teach one. And I thought that was such a nice way to close it. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for closing.
Amazing.
I just have one last thing for you.
Okay.
We have gifts for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much. I love these.
Cool.
Thank you for having me. This was lovely.
Thanks for coming. And to our viewers at home, I hope that you guys can check Ntiti's social media. She's available on LinkedIn. You'll also share more. I know she's Ntitiseng Moloi on LinkedIn. But also just check Nepoworx as well. We will post and share pictures of the book. Please make sure that you get it. Check our platforms as well as the podcast. It's Nepoworx on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, what else? All of them. LinkedIn. We are Nepoworx everywhere. So just find us, and then we'll share the book as well. But I hope that you guys really got to learn quite a lot, because I learned quite a lot and I enjoyed this. So thank you.
I loved it.
Thank you.
So
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I am Ntitiseng Moloi, engineer and author of Winnie Catches the Sun, an educational children's book on renewable energy. You can purchase the book on winniecatchesthesun.company.site. That's winniecatchesthesun.company.site.